When you really think about it, part of what makes us feel depressed is thinking that somehow someone somewhere has it better than we do. We think that everyone else is happy and we're just sad and we don't understand it. But when we realize that we're all just doing the best that we can, we'll start to really think of our lives and see our lives for what it really is. Mediocre, tangible, fleeting, fragile, and that's something I want to get into today. I want to talk about this feeling, or seemingly this conundrum that we're in right now, with everyone being depressed or going through some kind of mental health journey or issue, and how therapy has become such a buzzword. If you're in therapy now, somehow you're better than everyone else. So let's really talk about it. Why are we all so sad and depressed? I want to start with how you can basically help yourself get out of it. I want to start with the solution before I get into the problems, which is kind of, backwards, but let me start with that. Something that has really helped me is to compare everything to my mortality. I know it sounds kind of morbid, but how I've started to see things now is, okay, but what if I die tomorrow? How important is this going to be? How important is this 1 day from now, 1 week from now, 1 year from now, and 10 years from now, or even 50 years from now? Would I really care about this? And that's how I measure how much attention I should give to something, and how much worry and how much pain and how much I should dwell on it, and how much suffering it deserves. No, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying, just don't let anything bother you and be completely stoic and be made of steel. No, I'm human, okay? I may be talking right now like I've got my shit together, but that is a lie. I literally just said it. Most of what our problem is thinking that no one else has that problem and that we're all alone. A problem shared is half solved. Whoever came up with that is a genius, because it's kind of true. Don't you feel like when you share your worries, your issues, your problems with someone, you kind of slightly, even a tiny bit feel better? I mean, that's literally what therapy is about. Going to your therapist and saying, this is what's going on, this is how I feel, and having them, one, validate your feelings, and two, help you, commemorate, is that a word? Kind of like feel it with you, and, go through the emotional turmoil with you and tell you how to get out of it, or how you can think of it differently. That's pretty much what therapy is. However, I think we're starting to do it wrong. I think we're starting to therapize. I always make up words on this channel. I think we're overly into therapy culture now, and overly into our feelings now, and think too much about how we feel. And it kind of sounds counterintuitive. We think too much about how we feel, and then we get more into our feelings, and that makes us feel even worse. I think the solution is to feel less. No, not feel less, but think about how we feel less. One could say the generation before ours, were just as depressed, but they weren't showing it. Yeah, you could argue that. Or you could say maybe they were happier because they just didn't have the language. They didn't think too much. They didn't know they were depressed. They just went by their day and thought, yeah, I'm sad today, but I'll get over it. Again, I'm not saying don't feel your feelings or just be completely stoic. No, but I'm saying what if we really do just care less about most things in our lives? Of course, there are things that you can't avoid. The big things like going through loss, bereavement, losing your job, any kind of assault whatsoever, emotional, physical abuse, whatever, the big things, of course, that can completely drive you into depression, a breakup, the big things. But feeling a little sad does not make you depressed. You're not a depressed person just because you've had a bad day, or even a bad week, or even a bad month. What's that song from Friends? When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year, I'll be there for you. I always reference Friends a lot in everything I do. But when you think about it, just because you feel like shit today or tomorrow, or even for a whole week, does not mean you're depressed. Don't put that label on yourself. There's people that actually have, chemical imbalance in their brain that need medication and need, serious therapy because they've gone through something really big, something actually traumatic. But just because you've had a bad day, things haven't gone well for you. Someone splashed water on your outfit. Someone said something that hurt your feelings. You got home and the water isn't running, or you ran out of something, and whatever. Then you're depressed. No, you're not depressed. You're sad. You're hurt. Accept those feelings. It's normal. Why do you want to be unhuman so bad? It's almost like we want to completely get rid of all our negative feelings. That is the sensation that I get right now from the current climate. It's like no one wants to feel anything bad ever because we feel like everyone else is happy all the time. It's a lie. It's a facade. We're all just getting on with our lives. We're all just doing the best that we can. Again, no, I'm not saying to never worry. It's impossible. But just try to shake it off. I swear to you, I'm human. If you caught my wrist, if you slit my wrist right now, you're going to see actual blood come out. Not some blue squiggly, alien bullshit. You're not going to see slime come out of my skin. So I'm not preaching to you like I'm the master at this, but I'm just talking from a place of, someone that, listens to a lot of content about, positive psychology. That's what this channel is about happiness, about a sense of contentment and fulfillment, on how to just be happier on a day-to-day. I always say to have a sustainable level of positive emotions. That is the goal. That's the goal. That's the aim. That's what you should strive for. Not to be completely void of any negative emotions. It's a lie. For as long as you're alive, you're going to go through hard times. For as long as you're alive, you're going to be hurt. You're going to be sad. You're going to be angry. You're going to be, all the negative emotions that we try to avoid as humans. We always want to be happy and comfortable and peaceful. And that's what we want. That's what feels good. But I think if your life is going to smooth, I also think that would make you feel depressed because you'll feel bored. It's like we can't win as humans. We need that up and down. We need the ebb and flow. We need things to be good and then bad and then good and then bad. That's how we feel good, or even better in the good moments. It's because we've gone through the bad ones. We always feel like, no, we never want anything horrible to happen to us. We never want to go through any pain. We never want to go through any struggles. But I don't think the good times will feel as good if we never go through any struggles. Of course, we don't want to go through something that will torment us for life. I'd rather go through life with no, mental abuse or any kind of physical assault or any kind of, really hardcore trauma. I would rather not go through that. And I don't hope for that for anybody. But little things like losing your job. You might lose your job one day. You might get divorced one day. People just, there's tough things that happen to everybody. You're not the only one. So the first thing is just stop feeling like you're the only one. And the second thing is to start thinking, okay, well, how important is this really? There's that saying as well, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. I don't want anything to kill me. I don't want any pain that would drive me to feel like I'm gonna die in the first place. I don't want that. But there's some truth to that in the sense that, okay, well, this has happened now. I couldn't control it. There's nothing I can do about it now. So how am I going to react? Like, how do I deal with this? And for me, most of my mentality is, how important is this really? Every time I'm going through something really tough, or even something little like, oh my God, I'm scared for a meeting I'm about to go into, or oh my God, I'm going on a date. I haven't been on a date in a while. Oh my God, I really like this person. I don't want to get too invested in him. Oh my God, I'm scared of this person is coming to visit me, when we don't get along. Oh my God, my friend might be cheating on my, whatever. Whatever it is that is your problem. Whatever it is that gives you that anxiety and that nervousness and that tight feeling in your chest or makes you sad and angry. Breathe in 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds and then breathe in again for 4 seconds and go like that. It's called something. It's a very common relaxation technique, breathing technique for relaxation. And it's worked. I've tried it a lot of times when I'm, trying to give a presentation or go into a meeting I'm nervous about or do anything that scares me. Or even if I just am feeling anxious for whatever reason, I can't pick it out. I can't pinpoint what's making me anxious. I just do the breathing technique. Try it out. and then pick up that mindset of, okay, how important is this really in a day, in a week, in a month, and in a year? If you're going into a job interview, of course, that is very important. That carries a lot of gravity. That is something that will be important tomorrow, in a week's time, and in a month's time, whether or not you get this job, right? But in a year's time, if you don't get this job in a year's time, supposedly you are in a new job by then. You would have been lucky enough to get another job, right? So how important will losing this one be? Think of it like that. Say you're about to tell someone that you have feelings for them and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm nervous. Okay, tomorrow, tomorrow it's probably going to be important. In a week's time, yes. In a month's time, maybe or maybe not. Maybe in a month's time you meet someone who is actually the love of your life and you don't have to doubt your feelings with or about whatever. Maybe in a month's time is actually not important anymore. Talk less of a year's time or 10 years time, right? If you're trying to get married to someone and you're nervous about getting married, now that's that one can haunt you for life, okay? I always say the quality of our lives is determined by the quality of our relationships, which includes our, partners that we choose to spend the rest of our lives with. So if you make the wrong marriage decision, yes, that is a decision that can haunt you for years and years, right? So maybe that one you dwell on, maybe that one you really think about, maybe that one you get, all the emotions out about, cry, think, share with your friends, maybe be sad, be depressed, and, think all about it. Spend a lot of emotional and mental energy on it to, come up with the best decision. But right, comparing every little thing that happens in your day to a decision to marry someone, how little does it look? How tiny and just insignificant is that decision compared to something bigger, So that's something I've just been doing. I've been comparing a lot of things to my mortality. If I walk out the street today and get hit by a bus, how important is, the work that's stressing me out right now? Not very important. I think in that moment, my health will probably mean a lot more. Surviving that will probably mean a lot more. I hope to never get in any kind of car crashes or bus accidents or any kind of road accidents ever. Please God, no. But see, I'm telling you that, how important is this thing whilst praying to never be in it. But things like this happen to people. People get in car accidents and they survive and they have to deal with the consequences. And people will tell them, at least you're alive. No, we're not trying to undermine something big that has happened to you, because it is something big. Of course, seek therapy and, try and get your health back. But at the end of the day, life goes on. Everything kind of continues as if the accident never happened. And what you don't want is to continue to live your life in sorrow and just sadness, in chaos, in mental, stress because of something that happened to you. It's life. This is life. I listened to a podcast that mentioned how we're a weaker generation, and I don't want to completely agree with that. I just think we're a very overly aware generation that like to therapize everything. I'm going to make up that word again. And overthink everything. We're so aware of our feelings now. We have language for it. And for that reason, we overdiagnose. How many times do you feel something in your body? You go into Google and typing in all the symptoms and it comes up with 10 different things that you could possibly have, and it means you're dying. We've all done it at some point in our lives. Even now I talk to ChatGPT whenever I feel, something in my body that doesn't feel quite right. If you don't know, ChatGPT actually, if you download the app, it actually now has a voice prompt thing, so you can talk to it and have it respond to you, audio. That's not a word. Auditorily. You know what I mean. You get what I'm trying to say. You can have a proper conversation with it and like a back and forth. So sometimes I do be talking to ChatGPT like it's my doctor when I really shouldn't. I'm like, my tummy kind of hurts in this way. And, what is this feeling? And ChatGPT will be like, consult your doctor. But then it also has a list of things that might be wrong with you. That's the generation that we're in. We can easily, at the tip of our fingers, get all this diagnosis. And then we run with it and go, yeah, that's it. I'm depressed. I feel low mood, so I'm depressed. I feel this kind of way, so I'm depressed. What if you're not depressed? What if you're just sad? What if you just hurt? Let's just start to see things for what they really are. You're human. Why do we want to be not human so bad? The moment you stop feeling, you're dead. You know, it's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay. It's actually fine to be angry. You don't have anger management issues because you're angry. It's a human emotion. You're not depressed because you're sad. It's a human emotion. You're not a pushover because you're kind and sweet and generous. It's a human emotion. You're not a narcissist because you're very extroverted and you want people to love you. It's a human emotion. You're not toxic because, I don't know, you don't call someone back after a date because you ghost them. You're just chicken. You're just a coward. That's a human emotion, right? Now we just have so many words and, overly dramatized kind of behavior for everything. Especially the word boundary now. It's just been overused. Oh, I'm setting a boundary. I was listening to a podcast, the Receipt podcast actually, a few weeks back, or maybe actually a couple of months now. And they were talking about people, I think someone wrote in about how a friend is stressing it out. Basically, she doesn't want to be there for her friend because that's a boundary, and a friend is crossing it by, affecting her mental health. And I was just like, what? She's your friend. You should be there for your friend. That's what friendship is all about. And I was so happy that the Receipts podcast, the hosts, Audrey and Tolly T, they actually, touched on that, saying we should want to be there. That's what friends are for. Who else are you going to go to and cry your heart out to? Especially if you're not close to your family or they live far away. Who else are we supposed to, share all these emotions with if we don't have our friends? But now if you share your emotions with someone and they think it's stressing them out, which fair enough. If someone's always coming to you with bad news, that can affect your mental health. But that's not setting a boundary by telling that person they can never talk to you about what's bothering them again. What are friends for? That's just being a bad friend. That's not a boundary. Of course, there's levels to it, right? If every single day you get in the same old news and they're not even taking your advice, then you can be like, right, I've shared what I think. It's not working. Clearly, you don't listen to me, so maybe stop talking about this. But if someone's just going through a hard time, you should want to be there for them if they're your friends. It's not a boundary. That's stupid. But that's the world we live in right now. Everyone says, setting boundaries, and everyone's thinking about their childhood and how their parents have hurt their feelings. Even I've done it. Done it before. I'm like, that one thing my stepmom did, or that one thing my dad did, or that one thing my mom didn't do must have, hurt my feelings so bad, and that's the reason why I feel triggered by this one thing. And sure, it might be true, but you just move on with your life. You don't have to carry that label of childhood problems and attachment issues all your life. You just work on being better and compare everything to your mortality. Life is fragile. Every other day we see news on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, someone dying, dropping dead here and there. It could be anybody. I hope we all live long. I hope I live very long to 144. I hope you live very long. But you just never know. Someone that you're walking past the street, today next to you could be gone tomorrow. You don't know. Everyone just kind of goes on their own personal journey. So just take note of that. Every time you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed or quote unquote depressed, try and I'm not going to tell you to be grateful for what you have, because sometimes people do be having it rough. Sometimes we don't have a lot. That's the truth. Sometimes we do and sometimes we just don't. Sometimes people say be grateful and have gratitude for what you actually have. Sometimes maybe you feel like you've been unlucky all your life. But it doesn't hurt to just try and compare that moment of feeling to your mortality. If you're not here anymore, like tomorrow, how important is this today? And then you can start to be more open-minded and think more creatively about how you can resolve your issues. Now, if you want to hear about what makes us happy and how we can just enhance the quality of our lives, then click here for my positive thinking experiments and also some psychology and neuroscience videos about how to enhance your life and how to be happier using psychology. I'll see you guys again in my next video. My name is Anjy and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.